Today I bring back with another video, and this video topic is going to be the Wuthering version 3.5, where they already released a new region which is a Bangzhou, which I'm going to test this on my current configuration based on the Vega 7 iGPU and also 5600 GT CPU. No dedicated GPU are going to be involved in this video. Now the main purpose of this making this another version of a Wuthering video is going to be when these games release a new region, it always create a kind of like a rile up between the community, especially if you are a low-end PC gamer just like myself, or a kind of like a medium, or also somewhat of a high-end PC gamers, because whenever they just release a new region, it always does not even going to be a optimized version. That's the main issue what the Wuthering players has been facing, and they also try to make this point towards the developer that the games is not even optimized. For that reason, the player count is way too much lower compared to the Genshin Impact. You already might have seen a two Wuthering video on my channel. First one was the kind of like a 2 years ago, where I already uploaded based around the 1.0 versions, where graphical improvement was not even that much of high, but in that time initial release the game was also facing some backlashes and also some optimization issue, but they just somewhat quickly fixed it. For that reason, in this configuration you might even hit the 120 FPS or somewhat like a 60 constant FPS, just because the 1.0 version was that not much of a high demanding. But after the Rinasita area and also some Laharoi area in the version 3.0, the game became much more heavier than ever, and when the new region actually released, the first initial 1 or 2 months was not even that much of a optimized. It actually take 3 months to make the region perfectly smooth for each and every device. I already heard that to their kind of like a more expensive PCs, they are actually facing this kind of like a issue for this new current region, which is a Bangzhou issue. Now the another important part is that since I already used the OptiScaler in my previous video, which was also the same based on this similar configuration, but currently Wuthering has used some other methods to restrict this OptiScaler to using some other GPUs. In the OptiScaler, what we actually doing there, where we spoof faking to our GPU to make it like a 4070 or like a 5090, where we do get a chance to get the options such as the DLSS and also ultra performance mode, which we cannot even have in our like a Vega 7 iGPU settings. And now another interesting or important part is that when you are going to enable the ultra performance or also lower the sharpness or somewhat lower the fidelity of your overall gameplay settings, I guess you can even hit the 35 or 38 FPS in most of the cases. If the area is way too much demanding, sometimes you might even hit like 25 FPS. Most of the times you are going to get like a 30 to 35 FPS, which is actually going to be considered as a playable experience in the open world. But when you are going to do a battle system in a tower of adversity or some of those like a congested in a limited areas, in that time you are not even going to face that much of an issue, because there was not even that much of a demanding, so you might even hit always 60 or 120 FPS if you just somehow unlock the FPS by the manual settings. Anyway, that's not the main thing. Since the OptiScaler is kind of like restricted, we have to use the normal of low end config mode, where you can totally find it from the GitHub. Just searching by it like a low end config file, GitHub from the Google, you can just totally find from the first of the row and just click it, download it, apply it on your engine. That's it. That's the whole things that you have to do. But having applied these things, I guess you might not even hit the same FPS what you could even gain when you are going to use the OptiScaler. Since it is a live service game, each and every update are going to be way too much better than ever, and Wuthering is non-different than that. Compared to any other gacha game, Wuthering is always going to give you a much more high shiny things into that each and every region and also each and every update. That's why Wuthering is somewhat considered as one of those like a best gacha game ever exists into this market. Not even actually best gacha game. They do have so many QQL life. All you have to do some small tweaks or things to make your exploration much better. But as of myself, who doesn't even love the open world gacha currently right now, just because of it becomes way too much tedious. I already played so many open world gacha games such as the Tower of Fantasy. Genshin Impact was my first open world, or you can say the first gacha game. That's the game which totally make me enter to this gacha genre. And I also played the Preacher, which is a previous project from this game, Kuro Games from the Wuthering, and I already played it from the day one. If you think that I'm one of those guys who just played it by sheer amount of like a hype, nope. I saw the gameplay, I saw the music, I totally hook up into this game. I saw some other guys who totally give me the comments like, I already played this Wuthering game before you ever heard of it. If you already know the fix of this game, then why are you asking me, since you already start this game before me? Anyway, the thing that I actually talk about in my intro section, it does not even relevant to the topics, but I really like to give you a little bit of a thought that why am I actually making a multiple Wuthering video. Let's move on to the settings. Settings always going to be the same as before. All the settings are going to be the low. I'm currently playing with a native resolution, because this game won't even allow you to lower your resolution than that. So if the game just somehow able to make your settings much more lower than that, especially if you are just somehow able to play this game with a 720p, I guess you might even see a huge amount of FPS boost. And also the settings that I already mentioned, which you can just totally enable it by using the optiscaler and also spoofing your GPUs, which is the kind of like a lower the sharpness of your game all over things and make the games much more smoother. But that can only be happen if you do have a higher amount of GPU, or if that game does even allow you to have your GPUs to spoof fake with another GPU. But since it does not even have this kind of things into this current versions, we have to stick with what the game is actually delivering to us. All the things are going to be the low, and another important part, frame rate is going to be the 60. You can totally unlock it by going to the manual settings. There are so many other methods, but since your iGPU and also 5600G cannot even make your games with 120 FPS, I guess making it won't even give you that much of a huge boost. And another important part is going to be the FSR. I'm just enable it. If I just somehow not even enable it, I guess getting the FPS, what I'm actually currently getting right now, is could be a kind of like a dream for me. So that's all for this like a all over graphic settings. Let's see the gameplay. As you can see that in my previous video, I was getting like a 30 or 31 FPS just because of I was using the optiscaler, and you can see game's sharpness is way too much higher. Since the game does not even allow me to lower the sharpness where I can get the higher amount of FPS, I have to live with it what the game is actually giving me the default settings. And the graphic settings, as you can see that, which is way too much low compared to the base version, it already happened just because of I applied the low end config file from the GitHub. As I already mentioned before in my intro, you can totally just apply it just going to the Google's, search it, low end config file GitHub, you can find into the first row, download it from there just by according to your GPU. Since I'm using the higher GPU, always go for the config file 5. That's the number where you can even find your actual file what you really need right now. Anyway, just moving around, I'm getting a 27 or 26 FPS. When the demanding areas are going to be happen, I will actually have a less FPS than ever. Okay, damn, when I just moved to a motorbike mode, I just lowered to a 16 FPS. That was the hiccup, or that was the lowest amount of FPS that I'm getting right now. Okay, the thing is that I'm trying to give you a rough idea that when the action movement are going to be happen in here, especially in the open world, how much of a FPS that you are going to get right now. This is another important thing. You can totally skip this part for the each and every other gacha game, but when it comes to the Wuthering, they always tend to make their each and every region powerful or much more high demandings, which melt your iGPU or somewhat of your dedicated GPU as well as. And the thing is that in the second anniversary, they were taking initial steps to make the game much more smoother than ever, especially in the mobile version. They already added some of this like FSR, which they don't even allow it for the PC versions. For this mobile version, I have no idea how the FPS already increased for the statement they already had been holding into this their live stream for the second anniversary. But right now, I guess for the PC version, the thing that already added it, which is the deleting the storage of the previous past missions. If you already complete the whole over story, the story doesn't even hold a value, since you cannot even reply the whole story again. So deleting the story and also past resource mission, especially some other event things, I say it could be the perfect things for to make your games much more smoother. Since the storage price is also increasing, you don't even have a 1 terabyte SSD and also other things. I guess you have to make yourself to much more high space to make this game run smoother. Okay, let's engage with the battle and give you a rough estimate idea how much of FPS that I'm going to get in here. Man, 20, 70, 60. Oh my god, 16 is another way too much low FPS that I'm getting, kind of like a lower than before. Oh my god, it is what it is, man. Oh, that was the hiccup. I am hitting a 14 FPS. 2016, man, 20 and also 16, 14 is not even a good FPS to play this game perfectly. If you really want to play it perfectly, you have to hit the 30 FPS bare minimum. When I try to engage with some enemies in here and there, I guess the amount of FPS and also the amount of experience that I'm currently getting right now, it is not even that bad what I thought it would be. But having the optiscaler and also lowering the graphics much more than ever, I guess it could give you higher FPS than ever. That's the thing that I'm trying to say here. Okay, man. Okay. I have no effing idea that what am I actually doing. I cannot even dodge the enemies attack properly, man. Okay, Lina's ultimate. But having this like a lag on some other things, it won't even mess up my rotation, which I already know how to play the Hukis and also some other things. Let's see how much FPS that our Huki, which is a second anniversary unit, can even give you. You can totally see I'm getting way too much FPS than ever. Oh my god, this overworld combat are totally melting my IGP to the core.
Follow my rules if you can.
Here we go, ultimate. Sakura.
For all wishes spoken, this vessel I offer.
I just missed the crit there, man.
Down to the micro. This ends here. Cutting through the numbers. Come.
I should not use the ultimate here for the Jesus case, but it is what it is.
Special
Yes,
delivery.
here we go. Ultimate for our Lina. Man, if
Over here.
I just somehow able to use the optical, my game would just run butter smooth. Since the game does not even allow me to do that, the main problem is that game always update your GPU what you are actually doing there. So if you just try to make these settings and also make these things for your games files and any other things, they might reset each and every time. So there is no way you are going to use the optical into this current versions. They just restricted it.
Prepared for this. Have you not?
Why this boss is taking way too much time to die?
Gazing.
His resistance is way too much higher.
To pieces. Connection severed.
120 level boss. It is what it is. Okay. I'm hitting 19 to 17, man. With the optiscaler, and also if you do have a allergic of this low FPS, especially around 15 or 16, I guess this won't be fruitful to you. All I wanted to say is that just wait for another update for the optiscaler to see that is there any kind of like update to which can even make your games to run as much as smooth just like before. That's all the things that I can even say here, man. I guess that's all for this video, and I can give you a little bit of a brief idea that how much of FPS that you are going to get for this current region. You have to give them a little bit of a time that to make this region much more optimized for the each and every other whole over other devices. So up until then, you have to wait for it. And also, if you like it, leave a like. If you do have any more like a question regarding about these topics and also performance, you can totally let me know in the comment section. So see you on the next video. Peace.